Morning guys, Tuesday the 3rd of November and it's about 12 p.m. So it was a bit of a loose end this morning. I had a lovely day relaxing yesterday, just on the computer. Pretty much just sat in all day watching YouTube videos and setting up a little Android box that I had, sorting out my online training, and done a little bit of revision yesterday. Came up here this morning, wanted to get these trees put in because I was conscious they were still sitting soaking in water and it was dry enough and fair enough. I thought, well, we'll dodge the raindrops and we'll come up and get this done. So we came up the allotment to get the trees in, and as soon as I've done this, go back home, bite to eat, and then I'm going to start doing some more revision, ready for my exam tomorrow, guys. So I'm going to spin the camera around and we'll give you a little look at what we're doing. Catch you in a minute. Right guys, we went down the garden centre earlier and we got ourselves some of these Scottish pebbles, which is basically just beach stones. Could have went to the beach for them, I suppose, but there we go. So what we've done is we've lined these 30-litre pots with rounded, smooth, different size stone, and we've put about 2-inch layer in the bottom of these big 30-litre pots. Then what we've done is we put some cow manure, and then a bit of compost and a little bit of cow manure, topped it off with compost and one little smear of cow manure on top, and then a final dressing of compost. So this is one we planted earlier. This is the pear tree that we planted. So basically with stones in the bottom, then cow manure, then mostly compost, and another 2-inch layer of cow manure, or an inch layer. And then what we've done is with this one we've finished off with just another little inch of compost, just to finish it off and tidy it up. Yeah, but there's plenty of feed in there for these plants next year when they start to grow, and of course the compost will just continue to rot on down in there, the cow manure rather. So this is the Victoria plum we've got planted in here. So we've got the Victoria plum in, and it's about 4 foot high now in this pot. And then we've got the pear over there, the little conference pear, and we've still got the apple tree to go in here. These will get a watering in. They'll be left in the greenhouse to settle for a week, and then they'll just come outside. And likewise, the only reason the cherry and the other pear are still in here in pots, I don't know if you can see, but I actually had screws into the side of the pot, because when I had them outside, the winds were that strong, the pots were so small, the wind would just blow them over. So I had to actually screw them down onto a piece of wood to keep them upright during the gales, and that's the reason why the screws are still sitting in the pot. I don't know yet, I haven't made my mind up whether to move these two into the 30-litre pots as well and just be done with. I'm not really sure yet, guys. I like the portability of how small they are, and as you can see with these 30-litre pots, we've got the ones with the handles on. And by the way, there is plenty of drainage around the outside. Let me just, yeah, so you can see we've got holes drilled in right around the bucket, and we've got holes in the actual bottom, in the bottoms of the actual pots as well. So there's 4 in the bottom, and there's about six around the circumference as well, and they're all about 1/2 inch diameter. And then we've got all the rocks in the bottom as well, so there should be plenty of drainage. What we might even do is put some wood chip on the top of there now just to finish these off. I haven't made my mind up just yet, and just to suppress any weeds. I don't know whether to put some nice white stone on there, which is only going to add to the weight, or to just put some nice wood chip on, which can rot down and actually feed the plants in the years going forward. I think that's probably the better bet. And because it's on the surface, it won't rob the compost of its nitrogen. And eventually it will decay and break down, and it will just turn into compost, guys. And these will sink, of course, once I've watered them in. So I just thought I'd give you a bit of a quick update on what I'm doing up here, guys. I'll see you later. Right, guys, we're all sorted and all tidied up again. We've got the cow manure covered back over again, one thing or another. Everything moved away into the greenhouse. So you'll see here now, we've got these 30-litre pots inside the greenhouse. And they're just temporary measure until they get settled and bedded in. And I monitor the compost to make sure it's bedding down. So we've given them several good soakings with rainwater, with a new watering can. So the water they were actually soaking in the tub, which I've actually just sat out here now. I haven't actually got any good on here, so it'll just pour off and that'll just fill that up. So when we do need any water over here. The other thing is with citrus trees, they prefer rainwater because it's slightly acidic. And because they are acid-loving plants, the citrus trees, rainwater is much better for them. We have hard water up here as well, so that'll be better for them. I've actually just give them a little drink with a drop of water that was left in the watering can. I've just give everything a little bit of a splash down again, and that'll do them. They won't need any more for a while. We're still sitting at around 11 degrees in here, so far so good. When I was down in the garden centre, I had a quick chat with the experts in there. And they basically were telling me that, yes, these will go down to sort of -5, as will the peach and nectarine. It's more important that they're kept dry. And she said if you get any forecasts of any really, really bad frosts, to just come and wrap, not bubble wrap, but just wrap some fleece round the pots. And that will, and you just a couple of wraps round the fleece with a loose cable tie round. The foliage apparently won't take any harm, but it's the root ball. If it gets frosted too bad, then that will cause us some problems down the line. So yeah, here we've got the pear tree in the front, and then we've got the apple tree, and then we've got the plum tree. The plum tree is a bit sparse on branching, but no doubt it'll put some of those out next year. What is noticeable with all of these trees that came, they are all on dwarf stock, and as you see, this is the dwarf stock here, it stops here. But every year, it looks like, you can see, they get to a certain height and they just nip them off. That's obviously going to produce a bushier plant going forward. Now, I've got to be honest, guys, I'm no expert with trees. I have just plumped them in and that's all I've ever done. Those other apple trees out there, the dwarf ones, have never ever been pruned since I bought them. Until this year, and then we give them a bit of a cut back. But what is nice, I can see the shaping that they've got on these, and I've been watching a few YouTube videos around pruning trees, how to try and get them the shape you want and don't have branches crossing and overlapping. I think they've been a bit severe with this, but I think what they've done is they've got this to the height they wanted, and now they've stumped it. And what they'll do now is this should just now bush out and be a bushy plum tree, basically. I do know that plums are extremely vigorous trees, and I know that from from experience with the couple of little twigs I bought like that a couple of years ago, but they weren't on dwarf stock, and I thought they were. And as you can see, guys, we'll just give you a quick look at these. Again, likewise, we thought the pear tree was a dwarf as well, and you can see the thickness of this trunk in about 3 years. These were just twigs when we put them in, and I did think this was actually on a dwarf stock, as you can see coming out of the side, and I sort of deliberately put it on an angle so that the tree would grow straight. The dwarf stock's irrelevant. I wanted the tree to grow straight as it could, but as you know, this thing got right up here, and as you can see, it's going again. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to cut this back just yet. I'm going to leave it with a few select branches, but we're going to take all the lower stuff off down the bottom here, but not today, on another day. And any crooked and bent branches that's getting in my way like this, they'll be pruned back shorter as well. But you can see this. This is the other plum tree, and look at the size of this. Planted at the same time, 3 years. Clearly wasn't a dwarf stock, and you can see the trunk on that. It's probably 8 inches in diameter now. And as you know, what we've done with this, how severe we had to cut this back during the winter months. It has, of course, put out lots and lots of new foliage, and it is now stunted at about this height, so it should just turn a nice bush. But we'll just trim the top bits off again. We'll just nip literally everything off, and any that's protruding into the gangway like this. And we'll try and see if we can't get something out of that next year. We'll throw some of that cow manure on top around this bed to feed it. And likewise with the pear next year, see if we can't get something out of these. The rain's come on now and it's absolutely teeming down. You can see we've had a great big hailstorm. Bit of a storm as well. I never ever did get round to getting these cauliflowers out of here. They look quite healthy actually. Anyways, we never ever did get this done either, but what I have done is I've pulled out the roots of all of these beans. Now they're finished. I picked the last of those off, took them down, and I've just pulled the roots out so they can start dying back on that trellis. Then they'll just be easier to remove when they're dead. I never ever did take that cover off or get rid of those cauliflowers either, but they're getting absolutely annihilated with something up there. So they can, whatever it is, it can keep on attacking them and leave these ones alone. See if we can get a couple in winter. Trees all looking nice. I'm going to get some of this sealing compound as well, where I've actually pruned these. Apparently you paint these cuts just to protect the trees from getting insects in there and one thing or other. See if we don't get a different story altogether next year, guys. And as you can see, we'll get these protected and painted as well, just to see. And this is the other pear, which as you can see was planted at the same time as the other one. And yeah, we've now dwarfed that out as much as I want, and we can hopefully just let that bush out and see what happens next year, guys. Wow, it's absolutely pouring down now. I'm getting drowned. Absolutely drowned. Get back in this greenhouse where it's nice and warm and dry. So yeah, we've got just left the other couple of bags. I thought I brought more compost over than I thought I was going to need. Still got a bag of the Scottish pebbles if ever we need to pot anything on. And I bought some of this citrus compost as well, so if I do decide to move these up a little bit. I did say I was going to leave them in these pots, but I don't know. We probably will, guys, to be honest. Yeah, because they're manageable at that size and in that size pot. So, but the peach trees, we might move up a pot size. I don't know yet. But it's rather expensive, that. They're only little 6 litre bags, and I think they were £4 each. And I got about 6 or 7 of them, but then I've got it. Basically because we're going back into lockdown again, I wasn't sure whether the garden centres were allowed to open, but they're telling me that they are, and they can continue. Obviously with social distancing measures in place. That's really, really good news. As are the builders merchants. They're being allowed to continue to trade as well, but sticking to the social distancing guidelines, guys. So that's real good news. It's a bit of a pain. We've all got to get used to. And thank God I have this allotment for to come up here and just get my head cleared from the stresses and strains of life. It really does help. Right, guys. So that's just a midweek update. Quick one for you, and we'll catch you again the next time we do a video. See you later, guys. Bye.